really hurt some people's feelings. So if you a little sensitive, you might as well turn this joint off right now. Okay? How you afraid
What's
to
up,
drop it down when
everybody?
you
Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Rebel Fitness Podcast. I am here with Shamar, the head trainer. I am Carissa, and we are excited about this episode today. So our original plan for this was to do a Q&A. And we have had some Q&A questions come in. We always have some Q&A questions coming in, but we had done a couple specific posts and a couple specific things for feedback on the podcast and wanted to see just what people were thinking and what questions they had that maybe they were a little nervous to voice out loud. So we gave a couple options for anonymous things. And the questions that came back in were really deep. We got no fluff in these things. There was no what's the best supplement or what's the best creatine or anything like that. These were really heavy questions. And so what we decided to do, and they all revolved around the two main ones were weight neutrality and diet culture, essentially. And so we know that those are really hard subjects. They're really deep subjects, which is a big reason that we started this podcast, right? So that we could give those things a voice that normally don't, or that people would, truthfully have to go see a therapist in order to talk to, or get any real information about. And so I kind of decided as I was mocking this thing up and kind of figuring out what we want to talk about to just kind of bundle all of those questions together. And I really created an outline of how to, basically my process for how I identified diet culture, how I started, the process of recovery, how I've been walking through the process of recovery because it never ends, truly. And then kind of what the other side looks like, even though, again, it's constantly something that you've got to work on, but what the other side looks like and kind of where I am now, which feels much different than where I was when I started. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you may have noticed that we don't ever use cue cards here, which a lot of people think is pretty funny.
All vibes here.
We are all vibes.
Vibes based.
So we literally have some stuff on our phones that we will be like, okay, this and this and this and this and this, ready, break, and then we go. But this one, I am actually going to be looking at my phone just to make sure, because I want to make sure I don't miss anything in this. And this was one of those things that was really personal to me when I was typing it up. So I want to make sure I don't miss anything, and I want to make sure that I hit all of the stuff. So I will be using my phone as a little bit of a cue card. I'm not scrolling Instagram or anything like that. I promise. Finding the next shitfluencer that we'll call out on here. Okay. So with that said, you guys, I kind of broke this up into different phases, okay, for lack of a better way to do this, but I wanted to kind of break it up. And then we're going to give you guys some specifics that we've seen in the gym, specifics from our point of view. Obviously, mine is way deeper than Shamar's is in this situation, but there are definitely things from a trainer perspective that he will be able to point out, and then some potential things that I'll be able to point out from a business ownership, especially from a gym. But we're going to keep this quick today. This is going to be very skeletal and just kind of outlining. If you're listening to this, I want you to be able to take some tactical things from this and be able to say, oh, that's something that I can do right now to start this process. Or if you're in it and it's kind of muddy right now, which is totally expected, you can have some really usable things that you can take to try to make the process work a little bit better. And then our goal is to take these topics and kind of break them down even further on future podcasts. So if you're listening to this and something in particular resonates with you, one of these, topics, please, please, please comment, send us a message, let us know what you want to hear more about, and we will be more than happy to do that. Okay. So with that said, the first phase, you guys, is truly exposing diet culture. Okay. And for me, this came when by accident. My whole life, I truly thought it was my life was truly diet culture wrapped up as health and with a big bow on it. And it took me getting sick and having like major, like stressful things happening, but major, illness type things like adrenals not working and cortisol, shooting, skyrocketing through the roof. And that causing me to go into an early perimenopause situation and all of these other things for me to really step back and do some research and take some courses and realize that my lifestyle was actually leading to a lot of this stuff. And a lot of things that I was dubbing as health were actually hurting me. And then diving further and further into that is where it happened for me. And so the big parts of those, like breaking that down into a couple little smaller things, is the first one is like kind of figuring out the lies we've been sold. Okay. And I'm like putting sold instead of told because
air quotes.
Yeah. The air quotes for those of you not watching. But the biggest thing, you guys, is realizing what a business diet culture is. When you hear the numbers, like diet culture is a $90 billion a year business. Where are our answers? Where the fuck are our answers?
Yeah. Every year they have the same amount of answers, which is about 0, and even more questions, That's how you also know it's a business, right? Yes. That they come to you with a problem that you had no idea that you had before you met said business owner.
That part.
Yeah.
That part. And I think that is, again, part of exposing it is like, you got to self-assess on these things. Is number one is the issue that I'm having, something that I didn't know I was having, or that this magic pill that I need to be on, or this diet that I need to be on is fixing. We talked about this a lot in another podcast, the hormone issues. That's a huge one right now where people are like, oh, well, I think I'm having hormone issues. And it's like, well, based on what? Yeah. Well, I read this thing that said, if you're tired, if you're having trouble sleeping, if you're like all these very vague things. And it's like, well, then you can chalk that up to hormones. And it's almost like, people who can't stand, what are they called? The things in the newspaper when they tell based on the stars.
Oh, the horoscopes?
Horoscopes, thank you. So it's like horoscopes. And you get those people who be like, or like a fortune cookie, you crack it open, you're like, that could be anybody. Like those are so vague. And that is 100% how a lot of these diets, fad diets and quick fixes and supplements and stuff like that, how they will market. It's like something that literally anybody can have.
Yeah. Are you tired? Could you use more energy? Could you use less wrinkles? Vitality. Yeah.
Yes.
Like I saw a collagen ad the other day that was like boost metabolism, increase energy, like all these things that are just not what collagen is meant to do. And I was watching a movie and the ad came up like 4 times. I was like, if I was, a middle-aged woman that was having a hard time, I would have thought it was a sign.
Yep.
The same ad 4 times in my
Speaking of horoscopes.
This is it. This collagen is the answer.
It is.
It's got to be. And the woman up there doing yoga is so thin and she looks so good.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a huge first part of this, right? Is just assessing these things and being able to take those glasses off. It's not even like rose-colored glasses. It's straight up like ignorance at this point.
If it sounds too good to be true, just like most things, like in finances, in life, in your romantic life, normally if it sounds too good to be true, it is. And that's even more so true, I would say, in the fitness realm.
Totally.
Because everyone's trying to sell you the new, best, quickest thing. And the answers are there. They're just not new, quick, and sexy, right? They're just what it's always been.
Yep. And we're going to talk about that.
Enough sleep, water, hitting the gym 1 to 4 times, depending on your schedule and your situation.
Yep.
But they want to know what pill, what fruit, and whatever is just going to make it happen right away. But
absolutely.
The answers are there.
Yep.
It's frustrating.
You're exactly right. It sure is.
It's frustrating.
And again, it's really frustrating because it is lies that are being told to us. So we're being made to believe something that is not true.
Just because the truth is boring.
Yes.
The lies are more exciting.
Yes. It's not sexy. And that's what we always joke like at Rebel, like we don't have all the sexy answers, guys. We don't do this, the lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks anymore.
Yeah.
But I can promise you're going to get way better results with us. And again, we've unpacked this 1,000 times, but it bears repeating. When people come in, they're like, well, I'm doing keto. I'm doing, in fact, some of these that I've got, like some of the diet myths, no carb, clean eating, detoxes.
Fat free.
And people are like, I've done this in the past. It worked really well for me. Well, why are you coming to see us? Well, I gained all the weight back. So I'm going to do that again because it worked really well for me. And I'm like, let's unpack what worked really well for me means, because we don't look at those words the same way. So, so unpacking that, the diet myths, that skinny is healthy. We talked about this extensively on a previous podcast. If you've not listened to that, please do. Fitness as a disorder. Again, just, what you need to do. Fitness needs to be something that you use to earn food, to burn off food, to change the way you look physically so that you are more palatable to the public or to the opposite sex or whatever it is. But being able to like really see those things is going to be really, really important. That is part of exposing diet culture. You have to be able to see that, and you have to be able to move forward in that. The next one is spotting diet culture. So this was a specific question that I did get about, diet culture in particular, is like, hey, can you give us like a list of words or phrases that we can kind of be aware of so that we can kind of see it out in the wild, and that would like spark us to know that we're looking at something that is very diet culture-y. And we can 100% do that. I think we'll do a podcast in the future where we really like list a bunch of that stuff and go into it. But one of the things right now that I could tell people is, if it reinforces this idea of shame for you, then that's a huge indicator. And what I mean by that is, you go into this, new program, for instance, and you are supposed to work out 6 times a week. You're supposed to eat what they tell you to. You're supposed to drink a certain amount of water. Again, we've unpacked like 75 hard. We've unpacked some of these other things. But the idea that these things, there is a very, crazy, psycho, strict, course of action and checkbox that you have to do that's kind of packaged as empowerment. But then the idea that if you can't do all those things, that there is an element of shame that is going into that. The idea that if you do something, again, like no carb, low carb, keto, carnivore, whatever it is, a detox, and you can't finish it all the way, or you finish it, but then you gain all the way back, which again is biologically what should happen. But you are being felt like you are being, it's kind of been trained into you for you to feel the shame about it instead of that bullshit thing that you just did. Anything like that is a pretty good indicator of like, there's diet culture behind that situation. And because there should be it's like the morality of food, right? Like there should be no feelings associated with that. It should not be, that I eat a donut and I feel terrible, like about myself, versus I eat an apple and I feel great about myself. Yeah.
If it's creating like insecurities or disordered thoughts that you didn't have prior, like I think that's a big thing. Like if you've never felt bad after eating a blueberry muffin before, and now all of a sudden because of a podcast you heard or an influencer, now you feel bad after eating a blueberry muffin. I think that's, diet culture, right?
Absolutely.
Like listen to how the food, the activity, whatever makes you feel, right? If it makes you feel like shit, don't do it just because somebody else tells you to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if it doesn't make you feel bad, don't listen to somebody and be like, oh, well, they said that, pizza's going to make me feel fat and lazy and sluggish. But if you have pizza twice a month and feel fine afterwards, then have your pizza, right? Because not every food, not every drink, not every substance affects people the same way.
That part.
Right.
And that's another.
But that's what they sell to you.
And that's another, part of this is, is it a one, like a cookie cutter thing? Is it like a one fixes all type situation? And a lot of gyms will do this. Well, they'll be like, people come in and it's like, hey, we've got this program. It's going to work perfect for you.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's no consult. There's no chatting about anything. It's like, nope, this is going to work just because I know it is. And we've done it for 800 people before you. And it's like, well, if I'm different than, which we all are, then it's not going to apply across the board. And so I love what you said about that. If you did not feel shame before, if it wasn't a problem before, and you can kind of envision this sometimes with, I literally think about detoxes like this now because I've done so many in my life, you guys. I cannot even tell you the amount of money is sick. I could probably fund a kid's college at this point on the amount of detoxes I have done in my life when I was the most disordered, especially. And I think there is some person, I'm going to keep it gender neutral. There is some person sitting on a beach in Mexico somewhere drinking a margarita on
your expense,
on my detox history. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. And so that's the other thing that I use a lot right now to kind of motivate me when I'm really struggling. And I want to, because again, if you've had an eating disorder, if you have battled that, it never goes away. Like it is always there. And I even have times now in the healthiest that I've ever been in my life with my eating disorder stuff, that it will scream. It will scream and it will say, buy the pill, do the diet, get back on 75 hard, forget everything that you said, pretend the podcast doesn't exist, go do the thing. I still have those days, but I will remind myself that there is some person whose pockets are getting lined by my insecurity and my hating myself enough to want to change. And that shit don't fly anymore. And so that is the thing that pulls me out immediately. That's that part of it. The exposure. The biggest step in the cycle, you guys, is awareness. It's, you have to, the first thing they'll say in like therapy and addiction and stuff like that is, before you can do anything, you have to admit that there's a problem. And that's a big part of this, is you have to be able to be open-minded. You have to be able to admit. When I have a lot of these conversations with people, one of the number one things I have to say, because they'll get kind of pissy. People will get angry and people get a little like puffed up and people's body, will change a little bit and they'll get a little tense in their voice. And it's like, let's time out and like assess that. Like, are you getting angry because that's hitting something? Like that's convicting you in some way and you feel that in some way and you don't want to admit that this is something that has been disordered in you or that has been really unhealthy in you? Because that's how I was at first too. It was very much like, what are you talking about? Like that's health. That's health that I've been doing.
Who has a problem?
100%. And so that is the most important part of this entire cycle, is making sure that you become aware, because once you can see diet culture, and again, you can see it with an open mind, it is damn near impossible to not see it anymore. It is damn near impossible. And you will be able to sniff it out from 100 yards away. I can sniff out some absolute bullshit. And I still will have people say stuff to me. I'm like, oh my God, people still think that? Like people still fall for that? Oh my God. Okay. Like, let's talk about that. So, and I mean that in the most loving way, because
you poor soul. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. Second phase of this is healing and recovery. Okay. The biggest part of this, guys, and this is in all caps in my phone, this shit is messy. It is messy. And this is one of the number one questions I get to is like, how do you heal? How do you even do that? How do you even start that? One of the questions that we got was, how do you even, like, this person was like, I don't even know how to begin decentering weight.
Yeah. Like, how do I not care about how much I weigh? I've always cared. There's never been a time that my mother, sister, brother, coach, whatever, didn't tell me that I should care, or from a time I can remember, right?
100%. Yeah. I mean, that's me. Absolutely. Like from my first diet I did at 13 years old. And someday I will tell that story on here, but it's very emotional for me. But it's like at 13 years old, I was like, my middle daughter is 13. And I can't even fathom her doing that and living like that. But it is, again, it's just something that's like, it's a very messy process. And that's what I want to give you, just a little bit of, like, I want you to take some things in this and go ahead and start doing them, because they seem very small. These are very seemingly small things, but the compound effect, which we've talked about on here too, is huge when it comes to any kind of healing journey, you guys. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. You've got to make sure that you've got the right things surrounding you. So you've got the information, right? Like now you're aware, but like, what do you do with that information to move forward? So first advice I give every single person, if you can check a lot of these boxes and you feel like you've got potentially an eating disorder or very disordered patterns, or you've even gone into the old DSM and you're like, yep, I definitely could qualify for all of these. You need to get a therapist and you need to get a nutritionist stat And these people back in the day, you could not get somebody who really specialized in this. But thanks to diet culture and the fact that eating disorders have gone up 3 times since 2020, we now have a good chunk of the profession. I shouldn't say a good chunk. It's still not, it's a good chunk comparatively speaking. Yeah. It's still a very small percentage, but we've got more access to resources where we have therapists and we have nutritionists who are weight neutral and who specialize in things like eating disorders and disordered eating and fitness also, because again, a big part of mine was like compulsive exercise. And that is something, again, that it becomes an addiction, it becomes an obsession. And so being able to kind of tease your way out of those things is going to take a professional a lot of times. So getting a therapist and nutritionist is huge. You also have got to go on your social media platforms and you got to unfollow.
You do.
You got to, I should have worn my unsubscribe t-shirt or sweatshirt. That's one of my favorite things to say in life in general, you guys. I've been saying it for years, and then I found a sweatshirt that says unsubscribe at Old Navy the other day and I about lost my mind. But you've got to unsubscribe. And that is to things across the board on your social media platforms, any of these shitfluencers, any site that makes you feel like crap about yourself, where you're comparing yourself to somebody else, where they're giving you, again, like the fit checks and then telling you what they eat in the day and any of that kind of BS. Yeah. It is all disorder. It is all crazy because, again, we're not all the same.
No.
It does not matter.
Yeah. It's like the toxic friendships or the toxic relationships that you need to cut off to take that next step in life, but it's way easier because it's just the click of a button. It's not even a hard conversation, right? It's just maybe a hard conversation in your head, but it's still just that click of a button, right? And it can be good practice. If you can unfollow, maybe you can separate in real life where you need to, right? Because sometimes you have to unsubscribe from friendships or unsubscribe from clubs or groups.
Yep. And that's the next one. So you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, again, success and healing and anything like this, they don't happen in a vacuum. And it matters who you surround yourself with. It's the law of attraction idea, right? But your environment, my background is in mental health. And we used to always tell people, your environment shapes you, whether you want it to or not. It's literally like when you walk into a room that somebody has at some point smoked in, and you kind of notice it at first, but then you get used to it pretty quickly. But then you leave, and then you're like, who smells like smoke? Like, what is this? And it's 100, that's your environment. It will leach into you. It will become a part of who you are, whether you realize it or not. And so in this healing process, if you are surrounding yourself with toxic people who are very diety or diet culture-y, you have to separate yourself from those people 100%. And that's really hard. It's really hard to do. But, I've done it now to the point that and a lot of times you can set boundaries with these people too. You can let them know like, hey, this is what I'm doing. So I need you to not comment on food that I'm eating. I need you to never comment on my body again.
Yeah.
I need you to, and you make the list of things that you know are going to trigger you. But, and again, it's a very difficult thing to do, but I've gotten to the point now where I'm at where if I am so surrounded by only those types of people or people in my life who still kind of struggle with that because they will. Yeah. But they're so good now or aware of what to say and not to say around me, like based on my boundaries, that when somebody is full-fledged talking like that, it's like an alarm in my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I've been punched in the gut. I don't even know how to, okay. So like, just so you know, like this is not, I mean, I've had these conversations with my kids' parents, like my kids' friends' parents, and things like that. I've pulled teachers aside at my kids' schools on field trips and been like, hey.
Not going to fly.
We're not going to, like, Like, can I just give you a little bit of feedback on a comment like that and what it does to middle school girls? I would love to do that. So that is a big thing, is being able to set those. Ditching the scale is a huge one. Get rid of it completely. And I know that is so scary to people.
Right. And maybe you can reintroduce it once you've, reworked your relationship with it. Yep. Kind of like you can take alcohol out for a while to rework your relationship or, rework your relationship with certain foods. But it's hard to keep it there, right? Yes. Kind of like you have to heal first and then try to add it back.
Yes. And that's part of the process. I can't tell you how many times I tried to reintroduce the scale back into my life. Not happening. Can't do it.
Sometimes you can't.
And someday I might be able to. But that's my discernment. That's something that I have to figure out. That's what took me so long. I think we talked about this in another podcast where I struggled for so long to get back into working out. I would kind of like, oh, let me go box again. And then it'd be like, oh, let me turn my watch on. Oh, and it's like, oh, like those tendencies will just come right back. So I had to be really, really careful. It was for a long time. All I could really do was like, walk, take nice long walks, hike, do different things like that, play pickleball with my kids, play volleyball, do things like that. But like the working out stuff, even in the gym, was really hard for me because it just started opening back up those things. In my weakest moments, I would come home from something like getting ice cream with my kids or something like that and turn on a workout on the TV and just do it like a zombie and then be done with it and be like, well, I definitely did that to burn off that ice cream. And again, it's something that will just take over and then you just have to assess. I'd be like, okay, like that was fault. I fell back a little bit, but here's how I'm going to go forward. This is what triggered me. This is how you work it out. But a big part of that will be having some kind of professional in your life. So if you figure out that a scale is not going to be something that you can deal with for the rest of your life, then don't. That's what we love at Rebel. We use the InBody because we can cover the weight, which we do for a lot of our clients as they're trying to do this. And we just show them like, this is what your body fat and this is what your muscle mass look like. And again, if you get obsessed about that, then no, you can't do that.
Gone.
But it helps with the science. I'm a science gal, so it helps me understand like what's happening in my body that I can help protect my metabolism. And it's not like a weight loss thing of like, I'm trying to hit some stupid sick goal. I really want, my stomach is growling. I really want to, it's perfect timing for this.
Fuel your body.
Because we're going to talk about keys here in a second, or cues. I really want to like protect my metabolism because of my knowledge about that now. So it's like, how do I do that? And this is the science with that. So that's super duper helpful also. And then again, that was perfect timing. You got to relearn hunger and fullness cues. We have literally abandoned ourselves in this process of like dieting and all these things. And we get to the point where we don't even know, am I full? Am I hungry? This social media person is telling me when to eat, how to eat, what to eat. Do I even know?
Yeah, this person told me I'm not hungry, I'm just bored. This person told me I'm not hungry, I'm just sad. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So it's like relearning these things is going to be absolutely key. Learning to trust your body again, building back that integrity with yourself where you can trust, like, my stomach is currently growling. I am hungry. Like literally, I could put the mic down there and you can hear my stomach is growling. So
and that
I'm
goes
hungry.
Both ways too, right? Because you have to learn to trust your body again, and then your body is going to learn to trust you once you start to feed it in a way that doesn't feel like warfare, that doesn't feel like neglect.
Yes, 100%. And then you can then start eating to a place of being full. And again, I'm putting full in air quotes just because there's a spectrum of that for people, but learning how to eat until you're not like stuffed, overwhelmingly dying full. And again, there's a lot of psychology that goes into that we'll break down later in another podcast, but eating to the point that you are satisfied. Once I eat, my stomach will not be growling anymore. And at that point, I'm not hungry. Now, whether I decide to keep going, is that because I'm trying to like get a dopamine hit off what I'm eating and trying to like stuff some feelings down? Is it because I'm bored? Is it because, whatever? Then those are the things you've got to assess. And that's where intuitive eating comes in. But the big thing is being able to like gauge that. Like, I am hungry, I should eat and respect my body. I am full, I should stop eating and respect my body. And being able to gain that trust back again is a really big thing. And then exercising without punishment, again, is the goal. And we talked about this, but going into those and being really aware. Again, one of the number one things I tell people too is like, get rid of the Apple Watch. I think we talked about this in the last podcast that we recorded. If you can't not turn the Apple Watch on, you gotta get rid of it because it's disordered. You should be able to just work out just because. It doesn't matter how many pretend calories you think you burned on here or how many pretend steps you think you got on here or whatever the situation is. You should just be able to exercise because it feels good and you know it's going to do great things for your body, not because you're trying to close some asinine ring.
Right. And if you know it's good for you, you also shouldn't need a little electronic square to tell you that it's good for you, right? Like if you're truly working out because it's good for you, it shouldn't matter if you burned 300 calories, 200 calories, 500 calories. You should be going on that walk because it's aiding your digestion. It's good for your mental health. You're going to burn off some of what you ate, but the goal should not be to go burn off all 6 of those Oreos.
Yep.
The goal should be to go for a walk because it's good for me and it's going to make me feel better.
Yep. Amen. All right. So the next phase of this is building true health. This is really where Rebel came into play for me at the perfect time, because this is how we built the gym, was like literally where I was at, and what I needed to do to get back into health and fitness could not be what I was used to other gyms being. And so the big one on this, you guys, is getting clarity on what health actually means to you. Sleep, and this is what you talked about earlier, Shamar. Sleep, stress, and habits are health.
Yeah.
It's not the sexy answer, but that's what health is. It's not these diets. It's not these detoxes. It's not these supplements. Those are the 3 things, and everything that you named earlier fits into those things.
Yeah,
and
it's like the meme I've sent you a couple times. You know, people will walk in like, so what do I have to do? Just lay it down straight.
Yep.
It's like, okay, eat some protein, lift some weights, do some cardio, and drink some water. They're like, fine, fuck you, keep your secrets. And I'm just like, brother, that's it. Like, that's it. They're like, nah, all right, keep it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me.
I don't need to know. I'll figure it out.
All right.
Yep.
All right. That's how
I'll
it feels.
spend another $1,000 in diet culture trying to figure it out.
That's what the last guy told me.
Yep.
He wasn't lying either.
Imagine that. Imagine that. So those are the things, you guys. That's the answer. And again, that's how you build back true health. You got to get rid of all the crap around it, and that's what you have to focus on. And day in and day out, become consistent, build the habits, and that's it. Also, like supplements versus snake oil. We did our last podcast was all about this. So by the time you're listening to this, that one will be out. Go back and listen to it. We break down what is actually something that you could benefit from versus what is absolute snake oil and crap.
Yeah, and I think what we said in that last podcast was or if it says that you need this or you have to have this, then that would be diet culture. Because even our top 2 or 3, which were like creatine, protein, magnesium, something to aid with sleep, you don't need those. You could have an incredible physique and a perfectly balanced life with no supplements, right?
Absolutely.
So if someone's telling you you have to have this supplement to succeed, that's diet culture.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then the last part, you guys, is redefining your goals. So when body goals get complicated, which is, again, what you've been dealing with this disorder and all the things, you want to educate yourself on fat loss versus weight loss. Again, this is the number one cue that people will get into. They'll be on such a journey. Again, I'm speaking about myself on this, and you'll be in such a great place, and then there's something that will trigger and you'll go back to weight loss. And it's literally like, I envision myself going back to like being like a knuckle dragging caveman in this situation. It's like, I have lost all education, all knowledge, it's like my reptilian brain takes over. And it's like, no, what do I have to do to lose weight? It's like that, the switch flips in the movie.
Switch.
Yes. Yeah. And I envision myself literally dragging my knuckles across the floor and trying to act like a real human being. Absolutely not. Like, we're not going to do that. We're going to go back to fat loss and the science of it and body recomposition and metabolism and all those things. So getting educated around that at a place like Rebel Fitness would be really good for you. That's all we do. But understanding the difference between fat loss, weight loss, strength, clarify your goals around strength, and then focus on your quality of life. And again, our last podcast, a couple times ago, it's getting ready to come out. We talk about this ad nauseum, but it's very important. Also, remember, the scale is a damn lie. If you have not gotten rid of the scale and it's still around, you got to at least speak truth over it. It is a lie. You can gain and lose weight in the drop of a hat for all kinds of different reasons. And to base your self-worth, your progress, your strength, your health on that number on the scale is absolute bullshit. And we will stand 10 toes on business on that till the day I die.
100%.
You have to relearn what to celebrate is huge in this. So at Rebel, we say we celebrate everything except weight loss. We celebrate everything: your mental health, your longevity, your quality of life, your strength, your energy, your sleep, your confidence. We could go on and on and on about this, but you have to relearn what to celebrate, because we have been taught to celebrate weight loss, and it is absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit. And then the last thing, you guys, is defining true health for yourself. You have to completely reclaim your own autonomy on this. It is not what somebody else tells you. It is not what that shitfluencer tells you. It is not what that, MLM that, is health-based. That is big air quotes that I'm doing on that. It is not the BMI scale that was created by some bozo man back a million years ago in order to try to create, control and money over something.
Yeah, it's not the rabbit food diet that worked for your sister-in-law before her wedding, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's not a flex.
Yeah.
It's not a flex, you guys. It's really cringy. So stop doing that. Okay. And then creating goals rooted in empowerment and accomplishment, not shame. Okay. So that was fast. 35 minutes. Good job, us. Okay. So, but the most important thing in that, you guys, is again, that's like a skeletal view. That's like the bird's eye view of what it's been, especially for like me in particular, being in this space personally, but also professionally, and then also training people, and then also bringing in a bunch more like people as members of the gym. And now we've got this whole big spectrum and this whole big, almost kind of like pot to pull from when it comes from this stuff. It's not just me anymore living in my own world going, what the hell is happening? We have branched out, and now we've got professionals, and we've got members, and we've got trainers, and we've got all these different people coming into this and putting in, and it's really great. It's really great to have that validation after all these years of dealing with this and being able to put a voice to this. So I really hope that this was helpful for somebody watching or listening. If you have questions about this, if you think that you are battling something specific like disordered or straight up eating disorder, please, please, please reach out to a professional. If you are not sure who to reach out to, you're afraid, anything like that, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we will help you find resources for that. If you are local, come see us at Rebel. We are a safe space, weight neutral, body positive, all the things gym, anti-diet culture. You will have the best time there, but also be able to continue to work towards your healing and recovery goals there. And like us, follow us on all the things. Stay tuned for the next podcast. It's going to be amazing. And we appreciate you guys. Bye.
Peace.
Really hurt some people's feelings. So if you're a little sensitive, you might as well turn this joint off right now.